It is Saturday, February 17th. I'm Tony Roberts,
And I'm Eric Riddle.
and we want to address you, our friends and family, and financial contributors to our Indiegogo campaign, and just share a little bit about how we're coming along, what has brought us to this point, and it's less than 2 weeks from our debut, and we want to assess where we are and celebrate where we're going.
Yeah, and we are not editing this right now because
Free flow.
I am kind of stressed out. We've been sitting here this morning recording bits for our real interviews and our real.
It's taken us
What am I
about
talking
3
about?
hours to come up with 3 minutes. So,
They're a good 3 minutes.
a very good 3 minutes, yes. So this project has come along way from the 6 months ago when we walked down a country road. We want to kind of walk through our stages. These can also be found at our website, revealingvoices.com, where we are keeping a behind-the-scenes log.
Yes.
Eric, share a little bit about that first gathering here in the studio.
Okay, so I would say it was right around the beginning of October. We had been talking about this for a couple months, and Tony is ready to take a deep dive. And I said, okay, let's do this thing. And, it starts with the title of the podcast. And so we thought about maybe hidden voices. The idea is there are people out there that are concerned about the way mental health is treated in our culture. Maybe issues of discrimination, stigma, but also voices that are just advocates and have really positive stories and outcomes of being treated really well. And so those we're thinking of as hidden voices. But then we started wondering if there was. Actually, we checked podcasts that are already on iTunes, and that was taken, right?
Right. This process that evening, I think we were together probably a good 3 hours or more. And this was really kind of Eric and I at our most passionate and fun state. We are both creative people, and to be in that process of conceiving ideas and brainstorming, and that's really us in our element. But the podcast requires a lot more than that. And so after doing that brainstorming, we had to sit down and set some very specific goals. So we set a few that evening, like meeting about every other week to chart our course and then implement our method, our plan, do our interviews.
Yeah. And we established that March 1st date really early.
Yes.
And we've done a great job of keeping on the timeline.
Yeah, we're on track, if not ahead of schedule. We wanted to have a number of programs in the books before we hit the 3 episodes in the books before we hit the air for the first time. And also we spent some time determining who would be the dream interviewees, as well as some practical ones that we know we could reach.
We have a dream interview coming up here. February 28th, that'll be our third interview with Amy Simpson. I just finished her book last night. It's called Unsatisfied, and I love it because she's talking about things that a lot of Christians don't really want to be talking about in the context of theology and just general church culture, really saying it's okay to be unsatisfied.
So after that first meeting, Eric had a good idea to...
Let's talk about Unsatisfied for a second. You just read the book too.
I did. So unsatisfied is very different than dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Dissatisfied would be looking at things in the past and present and just feeling disgruntled, not appreciating life. But being unsatisfied is looking ahead and knowing that God has more out there for us. It's in many respects a spiritual longing. We basically accept where we are now, but we know there's better things yet to come.
Yeah, and just in the context of this podcast, I would say that we are unsatisfied with the state of mental health, but not dissatisfied.
No, we've looked around and see that there are good things that God is doing in the world and the church, and we want to help contribute to that.
Yeah, and this is not going to be a podcast about complaining at all. We
No.
don't do that in our Faithful Friends ministry. We deal with reality, and we deal with it with optimism and an expectation that things are going to improve.
And part of this is bringing on board people like you who have a chance to and a passion to be on this team of those of us who are wanting to make a difference in this. And early on, we knew that one way we could do this is through an Indiegogo campaign
Right.
that would provide us with the equipment and other financial aspects, but also generate some enthusiasm so that we have partners both for prayer and finances and time and attention and, listeners and just enthusiastic partners.
Yeah, and we are sending this particular, MP3 file only to those who contributed on Indiegogo, right?
You are special to
Yes,
us.
we thank you.
Yay!
Yes. About 30 people.
I think
would
there
say.
were 30 contributors, which is impressive. Small, large, everything in between. The size doesn't matter. It's really the heart that you bring to the mission. People, even those who have yet to contribute financially or may not be in a position to contribute, have offered prayers, support through social media sharing.
Yeah.
Everything makes a difference.
And I would say, I was thinking maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500.
That was an early goal.
And at the beginning, Tony, you're like, we are professionals, and we are going to start out with the equipment we need to have a professional podcast so that, our skill level can get us into that sweet spot, but we're not going to be limited by, mic stands that are falling apart.
Right. And there are expenses that go beyond the basic recording equipment. We learned early on through our research that there are costs for web hosting, podcast hosting, and domain.
Yeah.
And
blog themes.
Yeah,
website themes. I'm
right.
excited to get that one going here in about a week.
Right. And so there are costs that are somewhat hidden that we've discovered already and are no doubt going to discover as we go along. And so one of the next steps after we initiated our Indiegogo campaign was to find outside, how do you want to call Blueberry, HostGator, Lynda?
Yeah, all of that. Lynda.com
resources.
been our go-to, especially for learning how to do GarageBand.
GarageBand is part of the editing system,
yes,
as well as the recording system on Apple, on MacBook.
Yeah.
So then
What can I say? Yeah.
Lynda is also a training seminar, if you will. They have countless video tutorials that show you not just podcasting, but everything from video production
Right.
and
Yeah.
computer programming, a great deal of things.
Right.
So one thing we Eric is so excited he's speechless. No, I think he's still in this editing mode.
I have really only had 2 days
Yeah.
in the studio where I've been stressed out.
Yeah.
One was the day we got all of our equipment, and I
Yeah.
thought we were going to just get going, and it did not happen.
Yeah.
And then today, you know.
Well, truth be told, Eric is doing not just the lion's share, but he is our primary, our sole editor and producer. As part of the senior generation, I still bear a lot of anxiety over technology, and I'm determined to leap over that hurdle. But Eric has graciously...
Linda's gonna get you there, Tony. You just need to commit to some Linda dates. You know, you could have spent Valentine's Day with her.
I know.
It's
Linda,
okay.
I'm not ready for a new commitment. I'm just coming off a divorce.
She'll help you through the Ides of March. How about that?
So we both wanted to do this, but right now that's where we stand. Now, some more creative things that both of us were able to get enthused about. We we wanted to have a soundtrack, musical soundtrack to lead into, have a transition, and close our program. And Trey, what's Trey's last name?
Trey Scott.
Trey Scott, a gentleman who...
He has a couple hip-hop albums.
Yeah.
A friend of mine here in Columbus. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Trey. So we went over to his studio and talked with him about what we were looking for, and he sat down and did some things. We reviewed it, had some recommendations, and... Met
his bulldog. His bulldogs.
Isaac
was there also. Isaac was like, wow.
Were they pugs or bulldogs? Maybe a
bulldogs.
Combination. Oh, okay, bulldogs. Yeah, they were extra friendly.
It was really cool having my son there. You know, Isaac, he just turned 12, and to be in a recording studio, seeing some behind the scenes, how to...
Isaac had some good recommendations. So, like, close that door, Dad. Was I can hear you. So, yeah, it was fun. And then we looked at photographs, having a photo shoot.
Right.
Eric knew a woman, Amy Reese Myers, who has her own photography business.
Ruby Reese Photography.
Ruby Reese Photography did a wonderful job and came up with several shots. I don't know, over a dozen.
It was a very cold, but very bright day, and you know that sunshine was perfect.
And if you look on our website, the header now is one of the shots she took, as well as on our Facebook page. Eric and I have other photos, and then probably the most important one is the one we have on our iTunes.
The icon.
Icon, right.
Yeah.
A photograph of us. So this led to our trailer. Once we had this icon in place, we wanted some content to have in place we could put on iTunes.
Yeah.
And Eric, share a little bit about the trailer.
Well, I basically spent Super Bowl Sunday kind of watching the game. And Mark Hoffman, thank you for your contribution and congratulations for your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yay!
Bringing down the Pats. That was great
to
see.
Go Eagles! Fly, Eagles, fly!
Yeah, but we had Trey's music and we had recorded our trailer. Now that was all written down.
Yeah.
With some kind of bad jokes.
We won't claim who took those.
We kept the itch.
Yeah.
The niche.
Yeah, we have an itch.
We do have an itch. We're at 14 minutes here.
Oh, we got to do it again.
No, we don't. We'll see how it works. Here we go. There we go.